Welcome to this explainer. Today, we've got a high-stakes race against time on our hands, and we are diving right into how to protect your aquarium from a seriously fast-moving, completely unseen threat. We're going to break down the critical facts on velvet disease. Now, as you probably know, this is an incredibly aggressive aquarium illness, and it's notorious for causing sudden, just absolutely devastating fish losses before owners even realize what they're looking at. But by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a really clear, structured understanding of exactly how this threat operates and, more importantly, precisely how to stop it dead in its tracks.
So I want you to take a good, hard look at your tank. Really look at it and ask yourself, is my aquarium under attack right now? It's kind of a scary thought, right? But the reality of velvet disease is that you might be totally missing the subtle, early warning signs of a deadly invasion that's already happening right in front of you. Because this disease progresses in just a matter of days, prevention and early identification, they matter just as much as the actual treatment. Basically, if you wait until it's super obvious, well, you might already be out of time.
Okay, let's meet the unseen villain here, Amyloodinium. Most cases of velvet disease are linked directly to this specific marine parasite. And look, it doesn't just annoy your fish, it actively attaches to them and immediately starts severely disrupting their respiratory and skin functions. It totally compromises their ability to breathe and maintain their skin integrity. What this means for you is that their condition can deteriorate incredibly quickly, even if, the tank environment otherwise looks completely normal.
All right, let's get into phase one, spotting the silent killer. So this is the absolutely crucial first phase of an outbreak, and honestly, it's a trap so many aquarium owners fall into. We all tend to wait for those late visual signs, right? That velvety sheen, the severe gasping, or visible skin abrasions. But the earliest alarms, they are strictly behavioral. We're talking hiding, lethargy, and a behavior known as flashing. Waiting around for that physical dusting to appear on your fish means you're already losing the battle. That physical coating is not the start of the disease. Actually, it's a super advanced stage of a hostile invasion.
To actually catch velvet disease in time, you need a solid, practical checklist for these subtle behavioral quirks. First off, are they becoming noticeably less active or hiding way more often than usual? Watch for a sudden, totally unexplained drop in appetite or clamped fins, and you really want to pay special attention to flashing. This is when your fish repeatedly scratch themselves against rocks or surfaces in the tank. They do this because the parasite is actively physically irritating their skin. Finally, look closely for increased gill movement. This happens because the Amyloodinium parasite is quite literally suffocating them, forcing them to breathe so much harder.
Aquatic health practitioners are completely adamant about this. To quote the experts directly, early behavioral signs should be treated as warning signals rather than ignored until obvious dusting appears. This consensus totally dismantles that dangerous wait-and-see mindset. I mean, if your fish is hiding, refusing to eat, and breathing heavily, you absolutely cannot afford to wait for a pale gold or gray film to show up on their scales before you jump into action.
Which brings us to phase 2, the escalation window.
Here is where the parasite really shifts gears, and the situation becomes incredibly urgent. 24 to 72, I want you to burn these numbers into your memory. This is the terrifyingly short window of hours where the disease goes from visible symptoms to potentially fatal deterioration. Velvet disease is infamous for its speed, mainly because the parasite's life cycle completes rapidly under normal aquarium temperatures. So many hobbyists observe a massive, really noticeable worsening of their fish within just 1 to 3 days after those visual symptoms first pop up.
Let's trace this rapid path of infection. Day 1 brings those behavioral changes and that subtle scratching we talked about. By day 2, boom, the classic visual sign appears. That dusty, pale gold tan or gray film starts covering the body and fins. And then, just 24 to 72 hours later, you're dealing with severely advanced cases where the fish are gasping at the surface, developing abrasions, and eventually, they literally can't even swim or recover. You have virtually no time to react here. The mortality risk just spikes the second they reach that final stage.
But, what makes this whole nightmare move even faster? Environmental accelerants. This spread can accelerate rapidly when your fish are stressed out. Things like recent tank changes, overcrowding, or poor filtration. They all severely compromise the fish's natural immune resistance. It makes them significantly less able to fight off the parasite. Plus, once an outbreak starts, it spreads across your tank like wildfire, because the free-swimming stages of the parasite are actively hunting down new, vulnerable hosts to infect.
Okay, let's pivot to phase 3, the counterattack.
It is time to move from panic to total empowerment, and I really cannot stress this enough. You have to ditch the wait-and-see approach immediately. Relying on just generic, passive observation when you even suspect velvet disease, that is going to directly result in rapid, sudden fish losses. You've got to assume absolute control of the situation the literal second you spot those early behavioral red flags.
So here is the exact 4-step immediate action protocol recommended by professionals to save your tank. Step 1. Confirm the condition. Velvet can sometimes look like other diseases, so rapid testing and really careful observation of breathing rates are key. Step 2. Apply an appropriate anti-parasitic treatment, making sure you are under strict dosing guidance. Step 3. Improve aeration and oxygenation immediately. Remember, the parasite is compromising their gills. They need all the extra oxygen they can possibly get. And Step 4. Isolate affected fish if it's feasible for you to do so, just to help break that nasty cycle of infection in the main tank.
But here's the kicker. Actual survival requires a dual treatment strategy. You can't just treat the fish. You literally must treat the water too. While you're addressing the parasites attached to the fish's body, you have to equally target the free-swimming stage that's just hanging out in the tank environment. Because these parasites persist in the water, your management strategy has to align with the entire life cycle of Amyloodinium, not just the part you see clinging to your fish.
And finally, just throwing medication at the problem isn't enough. Your fish need an environment engineered for recovery. You need to lock in a highly stable water temperature, crank up that continuous oxygenation, control your water parameters tightly, and above all else, eliminate any outside stress. Getting a successful outcome requires a totally holistic approach where your aquarium environment is managed specifically to support the heavily taxed immune systems of your fish.
Velvet disease moves with absolutely terrifying speed. But as we've seen throughout this explainer, survival chances improve substantially when you know exactly what to look for and exactly how to react. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to consider. Will you be ready when the dust settles, or rather, will you be ready before the dust even appears? Stay observant, trust those early behavioral warning signs, and keep your action plan ready to go. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this knowledge empowers you to keep your aquatic ecosystem safe and thriving.